So right now we're going through one of the fastest transitions in human history. It's not the Industrial Revolution. It's not the invention of the internet, but the rise of AI is fundamentally changing how we do life. But here's the thing. Many people don't realize how fast it's happening, and they don't know what to do to stay relevant. So we're going to break that down in this video. Now, this video is not about fear, it's about clarity. It's not only about how to survive, but how you can thrive in the world that is dominated by technology. As I said, many people don't realize how fast this transition is happening. So to help put this in context, we're going to go back in history a little bit, because although history doesn't repeat itself, it often rhymes. So let's start with the agricultural revolution. Now, this is when we transitioned from being hunter-gatherers to farming. In this entire transition, this entire shift took about 1,000 years to play out. Very slow, very painful process. But they didn't have the same resources that we have today. They didn't have the speed of our communication, internet, and electricity. So they just kind of had to learn through trial and error. Some people found out when they found out. Again, very slow and painful process. If we fast forward to the 18th century, we got the Industrial Revolution. Now, this is when all the heavy hitters came out. J.P. Morgan, Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, Carnegie, Henry Ford. This is where we transitioned from man doing the work to machines, factories, and mass production. Again, this took about 150 years to play out. Very slow process. The speed of their communication was not as fast as ours. Infrastructure had to be built. And to be honest, a lot of the infrastructure that they built laid the foundation for us. Mindsets had to shift. See, back then, people had a horse and buggy. They were resistant to transitioning to cars. They didn't want to keep their horse and buggy. They didn't know nothing about a car. But I get it. It's hard for people to envision a future outside of their current reality. There's no way they could imagine what we have today. But if you ask people today, would they want to go back to a horse and buggy? Ain't nobody taking that deal. You might have that one person who says, you know what, I'll take it. I love a horse and buggy. But even then, it wouldn't make sense for them to take it, because we don't have the infrastructure to support a horse and buggy. Imagine going to work and you got two horse and buggies taking up both lanes because people want to ride in a horse and buggy. It's not going to work, right? So mindsets had to shift. It was a lot of changes happening. But at the same time, it took a long time to play out. It was still a slow process. So the people who were resistant in the beginning, they had decades to play catch up. Those who want to keep their horse and buggy, those last adopters, decades to play catch up. Again, 150 years. Now, if we fast forward to the internet revolution, it only took 30 years. You see the pattern? 1,000, 150, 30. Each revolution is taking less and less time to evolve. And now we're in the AI revolution. And the AI revolution is not taking years. It's taking months. Literally months. For instance, back in 2022, not many people knew what ChatGPT was, let alone a large language model. LLM. If you don't know what a large language model is, or what they call an LLM, it's an AI system that can understand and generate human responses. So it's an AI system that can communicate with us. You say something to it, it gives you something back. And it's actually pretty smart. So not many people knew what that was back in 2022. But in November of 2022, OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, went public. And by January 2023, they had 100 million subscribers, or 100 million users. That's 2 months of adoption. So to help put this in context, the things that you learned maybe 2 years ago, 5 years ago, may already be irrelevant today. And if they're not irrelevant today, they're likely or potentially can be irrelevant 2 to 5 years down the road. So it's only one thing that you can do with the speed in which everything is changing. You can evolve with the changes, or you can dissolve. But you got to keep up. And if you don't, you're going to lose. So I feel that one of the easiest ways to know how to stay relevant in a world that is dominated by AI and technology is to just know what things not to do, what things won't work, which things should not be going after. It's just like if you want to start eating right, you want to go on a diet, instead of focusing on the things that you should eat, what things should I not eat? Which things should I stay away from? Right? It can help to eliminate your list because truth be told, many people are still playing by that old playbook. The playbook that worked for 20, 30 years, that playbook don't work anymore. That playbook is gone and thrown in the trash, is gone out the window. We got a new playbook that is being written right now. It's not fully written, but it's being written. So you have to follow the rules of the playbook that is being written now if you want to be relevant in the future. And I believe if your job or the thing that you're going after is very repetitive, meaning it's very routine, it's predictable, it follows a strict set of rules, or it follows a step-by-step process, like I have to do this before this, this before this, this before this, instead of being based on reasoning and critical thinking and judgment, it's time to start making moves. Because if your job fits that criteria or the thing that you're going after fits that criteria, AI can already do it quicker, faster, more efficiently. It can do it 24 hours and it can do it cheaper. So while you sleeping, AI is working. And it doesn't cost as much. And it's better than what you can do. Crazy. So if your job fits that criteria, you got to start making moves. These are jobs like admin, schedulers, logistical jobs, truck drivers, delivery drivers, Uber, Lyft, underwriters, loan officers, the list goes on and on, cashiers, a lot of entry-level jobs, data analysts, data entry jobs, middlemen, right? And I don't want you to look at it as, man, I'm losing my job, right? It's not necessarily personal, but it's the price of growth and change. And I get it, and you may feel like it's not fair, but you have to also understand that as the disruption is happening and industries are being disrupted, jobs are being lost, people aren't just losing a job, they're losing meaning. They're losing the narrative they have built their future on, right? But the beautiful thing about that is you can change your narrative and shift it to something else, right? So as you're evaluating what jobs are going to be relevant, or what things should I be doing, what things should I be studying, what skills should I be learning, don't just look at the specific job. You want to look at how a job is done. And you can do this with any job. You can ask yourself, is it predictable and routine? Does it follow a specific set of rules or protocols? Does it follow a step-by-step formula in order to do the job? Or if you don't even want to do that, you can just utilize AI and ChatGPT, right? This is what's coming for our jobs anyway. You can utilize that. You can say, give as much detail about your job as possible, even where you work, the title of your job, the nature of your job, what you do, as much detail as possible. And then you can say, if AI was to do my job, how would it do it? And it'll give you a printout of whether it can do it or not. And that will give you kind of a time frame of, okay, should I be shifting and transitioning? Or is this something that I'm pretty safe in for right now? And you just want to look at it for what it is. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't be in denial. Don't not want to look because of you don't want to face the challenge. Just look at it for what it is and understand that you're putting yourself at an advantage for finding out sooner than later. Because it's better to find out now where you can make adjustments and make the necessary changes versus finding out later and likely the consequences are going to be worse. And remember, it's not personal. It's just the price of growth. It's the price of change. So now let's talk about what jobs or what skills, I'll say that. What skills do I think would be the most useful, profitable, and the most sought after in a world that is dominated by AI and technology. I think before we talk about those, you got to first address the mindset. Looking at what jobs are going to be relevant, which things you should be studying, you have to go in with an optimistic mindset, right? You have to see yourself as an opportunist. And the principle that I like is every time a solution is created, it creates a new list, a long list of new problems that need to be solved. So AI is a solution. This AI is going to create a laundry list of new problems that need to be solved. Now, some people think that those problems are just going to be solved by AI, which it may. But that's nor here nor there, right? You don't want to look too far in the future. It's just about like right now, what things can I look for where I can find an opportunity to thrive and to position myself well, right? So that's a principle that I like. Every time a solution is created, it creates a new list, a long list of problems. So I believe that the first thing that's going to be the most useful, profitable, and sought after is the obvious one, AI and tech skills. If you can build it, if you can prompt it, train it, apply it, you're going to win. You're going to thrive. Because you're using the technology and you're shifting with the changes that's happening. That's a very easy one. So if you're going into a tech space, if you're going into an AI space to understand it, of course, you'll thrive. Next, I believe trade skills, plumbers, electricians, carpenters. Their jobs are so nuanced right now that AI can't do their job right now. So I think those people will be useful in the future. They will be relevant. We're going to need those. But at the same time, I believe that one day we'll have AI homes where a full home is powered by AI. So those jobs may not be needed. But for right now, definitely going to be needed because their job is too nuanced. It's not a system of protocols that you follow, right? It's almost like a diagnosis. It's almost like surgery. They have to go in and identify what's going on and this, that, and the third. Very nuanced job. So trade skills will be very valuable in the future. Creative skills will be very valuable. I believe AI can replicate patterns, but it can't originate beauty. It can't originate culture and emotion. It can't replicate our experiences. You know, AI doesn't know what it feels like to lose someone close to you. It doesn't know what it feels like to face a form of injustice. It doesn't know what it feels like to work so hard for something and to get the thing that you work so hard for, or to work so hard for something and to lose and not get the thing that you work so hard for. It doesn't know the feeling of helping someone and seeing the tears and gratitude that they have, right? To feeling someone's warmth, to connecting with people. So to all the creatives who felt like they never had a space, they never had a place to thrive in the world, this is your opportunity. Because I believe as AI content gets more generated, the more people will desire original human creativity. People are going to pay for stories, brands, perspective. So creatives is going to pay to be a creative in this new era of AI and technology. Next, strategic and leadership skills. Going to be huge, right? How I see AI is an engine and it's going to need a driver. Very smart engine, but it's going to need a driver. And it doesn't need someone that is in fear and worry and panic and doubt. It needs a leader who's going to have vision, who's going to have courage, who's going to have hope. See, leadership and strategy is all about just knowing where to go, why you're going there, how to lead other people there, right? And I'm not talking about, when I say leadership and strategy, I'm not just talking about a position. I'm not talking about a title. I'm not talking about a status. But I'm talking about your ability to influence, not just other people, but to influence yourself. Because before you can influence other people, you got to be able to influence yourself. So your ability to influence, whether it's yourself, whether it's other people, will be a sought after skill. Your ability to hold and have a vision, your ability to capture a vision will be a sought after skill. Your ability to have courage, to have hope, to see opportunities in the future, and to help others along there too, will be a very valuable and profitable and sought after skill that people will look for. Next, you have human-centric skills. One thing I know about humans is people gonna keep making people. Ain't no way in the world people gonna say, it don't matter how many AI agents you create, it don't matter how fast you create AI agents, people gonna still keep making people. We're gonna always be around. So I think that as AI grows, as technology grows, the more valuable human traits become. So people's ability to communicate effectively, to have emotional intelligence, to coach, to mentor, to teach, to transform lives will be a very profitable, sought after skill, will be useful. People will pay for perspective. They will pay for principles. They will pay for connection. They will pay for wisdom, knowledge, guidance, understanding. AI can give us a ton of information, very useful and valuable information, but it would never be able to relate and connect like a human. So human-centric skills will be very sought after, very profitable. Character, right, will be very valuable as AI grows. Next, I think discipline will be a very sought after skill, because discipline is a skill. It's not something that you're born with, but it's something that you build and something that you continue to build on. Discipline is your ability to shift your identity into a person that is greater, a person that is better, a person who can transform themselves to add more value to the world. That's what discipline is. It's not just an action or behavior, but it's a process that you undergo to becoming a greater person of value so you can have the necessary traits and skills to be that person consistently. It's not about forcing yourself to do things, but it's about transforming your identity. And I believe those who will be able to redefine themselves in a world that is constantly being redefined, they will constantly win. They will constantly thrive. See, because here's the thing. We aren't in a war between man versus machine when you really look at it. We're in a war between discipline versus distraction. And those who have the most discipline, those who have the most structure, are those who are going to be the one that thrives through the change. And those who don't, they're going to be the ones that struggle through the change. See, most people aren't being replaced by AI, or most people's jobs aren't being replaced by AI because they lack the talent, they're not good enough, they're not smart enough. But it's because they're soothing themselves with entertainment, endless scrolling. They're soothing themselves with healthy distractions, kids, family, work, right? They're soothing themselves with everything that they shouldn't be doing instead of focusing on things that they should be doing, right? Whether it's conscious or whether it's unconscious. Distraction is nothing more than a distorted vision. And most people aren't distracting themselves because they want to. They aren't distracting themselves because they lack vision, but they're distracting themselves because their vision is unclear. See, when you don't have clear and empowering direction, you sink easily into distraction. So because they can't see a future where they fit, because they can't see a future where they belong, because they can't see a future where they can thrive in the world, they're naturally falling into distractions. Constantly scrolling, constantly looking for entertainment, constantly feeding themselves with healthy distractions, right? Involving themselves solely in their kids and not looking out for their future. Involving themselves solely with their family and not looking out for their future. So distraction is nothing more than a distorted vision. When you're distracted, it just means that your vision is unclear. But the clearer you can get that vision, the less distracted you'll be. See, but I believe relevance doesn't come from predicting. It comes from positioning. We all had the opportunity to position ourselves well so we can thrive through the change. But you just have to build the discipline in order to do that. But again, discipline is not just a behavior. It's not just an action, but it's an identity transformation. It's those who will be able to see themselves differently in a world that looks differently. Because in life, you're either going to be a victim of change or you're going to be a student of change. You're either going to be a consumer of content or a creator of content. You're either going to be the problem or you're going to be the problem solver. One of those two. You can't pick both. And it is those who have the most discipline, who has the most structure, who will be able to thrive through the change. It will be those people who will be able to stay relevant. And this isn't about being a tech genius. It's not about being super tech savvy, but it's about really being intentional about how you handle the changes that's happening. Really being intentional about where you place your focus. Really being intentional about holding a strong vision so you aren't being distracted. It's about being intentional about building the identity of a winner. Because at the end of the day, the game isn't to beat AI. It's not to outthink AI, but it's to outdiscipline your past self. That's all it is. And again, those who have the most discipline, those who have the most structure will thrive and will win in a world that is dominated by AI. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody you feel might be able to benefit from this content. And I will catch you on the next video.